Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And tonight we're here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9, Episode 13, which was titled If These Woods Could Talk. And let me tell you, there was a whole bunch of talking going on. This camping trip has turned out to be a camping trip to remember. So the show opens as it ended last week with the ladies still on the bus going back and forth about Porsha and her anger management. And so before things get too far out of hand, Cynthia brings them back to, back into the realm, and she asks Porsha, all things considered, how are you doing? How is everything going? And then Marlo follows up by saying that the ladies should just love each other where they're at and stop, with all the bickering. So at the campground, the ladies check into their rooms, although they will be actually sleeping in tents on the first night. So as they're going to their rooms and figuring out, who they're paired up with in each cabin, the ladies are griping and complaining. And Marlo says that she has gas real bad. And then all of a sudden she just starts farting and carrying on. I'm like, dang girl, what did you eat on your way there? Or is this like a condition that she always has? So Phaedra tells the ladies to grab their necessities, and they don't need much to go out to the campground. And she says that when they get out to the actual place where they'll be camping at, that a guy named Steve has already pitched all the tents. But it turns out that once they get out there, that the only tent that's pitched, I think, was Phaedra's tent, and the rest of the ladies had to do their own. But before they actually left to go out to the campground, Sheree and Marlo were in their room, and they were basically plotting on, what they were going to bring up. Because remember, Marlo said that when they got to the campground, that they were going to have a session of Ask Marlo. So Sheree is kind of like filling Marlo's head, with a bunch of mess that she can bring up and ask when they get to the campground. So when they're out there and they realize they have to pitch their own tents, the guy, I think his name was Jason, it wasn't Steve, who Phaedra thought it was going to be. And Jason tells them that it should only take them 5 minutes to pitch the tent, but it turns out with all the complaining and just how they are, like, the divas that they are, it ends up taking them like 3 hours to get all the tents up and for them to get ready to sit around this campfire to have this Ask Marlo session. So Sheree had her tent all set up, and she was sitting in her camp chair. And so Kenya comes over and asks her to come and blow up her hot air mattress or something. And then when Sheree realizes that she was trying to throw shade, she said for Kenya to just twirl her ass on over there to the campfire and hopefully she falls in. And I was like, that would be a sight to see. So with the tents up and, everybody sitting around relaxing, the Ask Marlo session gets kicked off. And I think Porsha started it, and she was asking Marlo why was her can of off blinged out. So this fool had a canister of, the off mosquito spray, and she had literally stuck like rhinestones all over the can and blinged it out. And I'm just like, who does that? Like, who has that much time on their hand to even do something so stupid? So Lauren, Porsha's sister, she asked why did Marlo and Kenya fall out of friends. And so Kenya, she's not happy that the question has come up yet again. And she says that she's pretty much tired of apologizing to Marlo about it. And so Marlo just unleashes, it was like she had a list of things she wanted to say to Kenya if she had the opportunity. And she started with the fact that Kenya's eyelashes are too thick and that she's using the wrong brand or the wrong size type or something because they look all clumped together. And by the time she finished, she talked about how Kenya couldn't keep a man, and she could even keep a man, a broke man. And then she finished up with the fact that the reason Kenya is evil is because her own mother doesn't want her. And I was thinking, like, that was a low blow. Like, I can't stand Kenya, but I would never say that to somebody whether I like them or not. And Marlo knew she was dead wrong for that. So Phaedra, she cuts in and she tells them, like, enough is enough, that we're not out here to be doing name calling and being mean-spirited towards one another, because we're better women than that, and we're here, you know, to kind of come together and show, you know, that we can get along. Now Sheree wants to back down from asking the lesbian question, you know, asking Candy if she's a lesbian. I don't know why she's so obsessed with that. Because I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe you so worried about whether or not Candy is a lesbian. Does that mean that you want to get with Candy if she is? Like, why is that such an issue for Sheree, that she just got to get to the bottom of it? Or is she just being messy as usual? On day 2 of the trip, Phaedra, you know, she comes out of her tent and she says that she slept like a baby and she feels great. But none of the other women seem to share her sentiments about sleeping in the tent, you know, out on the ground. So then they're looking around for Marlo, and Marlo is MIA. So then they go over to Sheree, and Sheree lets them know that Marlo got up at like 3:30 in the morning and walked back to the camp. And I think that to the cabins. And I think the cabins were like really far away from the campground. So she was really brave to be out there walking. But then of course, you know, we had the cameras following her because they did like a little clip. So she wasn't exactly alone in the woods. When they all get back to the cabin, Cynthia's trying to use her phone, and she's holding the phone all up like this here. She can't get reception. But then we get into Phaedra's room, and Phaedra's on the phone talking to her boys. So I don't know if it was their phone plans, like if that was the 1% where Sprint doesn't reach, or what was going on with Cynthia's phone. Then the ladies move on to breakfast, and Kenya lets them know that she has been tasked with planning the events for today. So everyone seemed to be okay and getting along, and then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, she asks Phaedra, so Phaedra, what's going on with your divorce? Is it finalized? I'm just like, these women have no filter and they have no boundaries, because Phaedra's divorce is none of your business. And when her divorce is final, if she wants to share it with the group, then she will. But why are y'all prying into her business? And then Candy wants to throw in about, well, I thought, you know, when a person goes to prison that you could get an instant divorce. And I'm just like, okay, now you go around repeating what your mama said. Your mama ain't a lawyer, and neither are you. And regardless of how long it's taking, why do y'all care? So Phaedra was basically saying that, you know, it's not that simple, and that if one person, I think somebody else brought up, well, is Apollo contesting the divorce, like to give her an out? And then Phaedra says, yes, you know, if the other person is contesting the divorce, then it's not as simple as you guys think. Anyway, I don't know why they are just, like, even my best friends don't be prying in my business like that. Like, they wait for me to tell them something, and they might know the answer already. But if I never bring it up, they never bring it up. And that's how friendships should be. Then to change the subject, Cynthia announces that her divorce is almost done, but Peter has elected not to come to the final signing of the divorce decree. And then she kind of like starts crying. And I think that she's more hurt that Peter didn't fight for their marriage, or even pretend like he wanted to fight for the marriage, that he's pretty much given her whatever she wants. Because she said that when she went to the signing for the house, like, he didn't even contest that or have anything to say. He just signed off on whatever papers he needed to sign off, saying that he doesn't have a stake in the house. So she goes on to say that, you know, she'll probably never get married again. But then Porsha and Marlo, you know, they start reaffirming her and telling her, you know, you're feeling that way now, but you're a beautiful woman with a lot to offer. And you'll probably meet another guy and fall in love with a guy. So keep in love with another guy. So keep your options open and don't give up. So I thought that was sweet. So it was like moments where they were going like back and forth, where they were together in unity, and then other times they were at each other's throats. So it was like really bipolar for me. After breakfast, the ladies were going on paddle boating and kayaking, and so it was really crazy and quite amusing, because I think Lauren and the Hazel chick, they got into the kayaks, no problem. No, it was Lauren and Porsha maybe, because it was the Hazel girl that was pushing them out into the water, into the kayak. And then I think Candy, Hazel, and Kenya, they got into one of the paddle boats and were pushed out into the water. And then it was Porsha, Sheree, no, it was Phaedra, Sheree, and whoever else was left, because it was three of them. They got into the other paddle boat, so everybody was having fun except for Sheree. She went to screaming about bugs in the boat, dirty water in the boat, how she had to get back to shore because it was nasty and she felt dirty and that there was pee on the sea. It'd be just like really embarrassing and carrying on. So they get back to the shore. She jumps out of the boat and runs off, and the camp guy was standing there looking at her like, you stupid ass. Like, you could tell he was over the whole moment, didn't want to be a part of this scene, and that he thought that Sheree was just being an idiot at that time. Oh, and then once Sheree jumped out of the boat, Cynthia said that, so it was Cynthia in the boat, I think, with Phaedra and Sheree, and she said, well, if she ever has anything at the lake house that involves them getting into the water, she knows not to invite Sheree. So next they are going free fall jumping. I call it bungee jumping, but I guess it's different from bungee jumping because they called it free fall jumping. So Kenya goes first, and then followed by Cynthia, and then they show Porsha. And so, and then Candy also, they showed Candy jumping. So they were okay, but when it came time to Porsha was like really scared and really nervous, and then they kind of like pushed her over the edge to just get it over with. And I think it was like 100 feet down. And so when Porsha was, saying she didn't want to jump, she was saying that, she doesn't like jumping. She doesn't like doing anything like that, that she doesn't even like being on a seesaw. Like, that's how much she hates jumping. So then when she finally hit the ground, she said that it was nothing but God, because she surely thought that she was going to die. But then the other women, they gathered around her and was congratulating her, that even though she was afraid, she did go ahead and make the jump. Later on that evening, the ladies gathered for dinner, and it seems everyone enjoyed the free fall jump outing. And Marlo, her and Sheree were late, and Marlo shows up with this little skimpy, I don't know if it was a dress or like a short jumper outfit. It was very body fitting and very short, and then she had on these thigh-high boots to cap off the outfit. But I mean, she looked nice, but just not really for the wilderness, I would say. As everyone was talking and, saying how positive they felt and, putting out positive vibes, here comes Kenya. So she decides to bring up, Marlo and the way Marlo had treated her the night before, and said that she just wanted to apologize. But I'm sure that apology was just to get Marlo to apologize to her, for the mean comments that she made. So Marlo did apologize, but then she said that she was going to proceed with caution with Kenya. And so then Kenya was like, there you go. And then she said, well, no, I just thought about that because you have that orange dress on, and it made me think that's a sign that I need to proceed with caution with Kenya. So I'm like, these two are never going to be friends. So after the apology, things couldn't stay mellow, because then Marlo decided that she was going to go ahead and bring up, about somebody at the table said that somebody else was a lesbian. And so she starts out, by saying that, even though they're able to apologize and give each other compliments, that there's a lot of fakeness amongst the group, and the women are still talking behind each other's backs. So then she just comes out and asks Candy if she is a lesbian. And it was just like, who does that? Like, who has the balls to do that? And Candy is like, what? And then everybody else was like, went around the table, what? Like, who said that? And, of course, Phaedra was sitting over there like, sipping on her tea, like she wasn't going to say anything. And so one of the main ones that was like, who said that, was Porsha. So then Marlo pretty much says that she got the information from Sheree, and then she tells Sheree that she needs to, say who said it. So then Sheree says that she doesn't want to call any names. So she tries to flip the script and says that, is there anybody at the table that wants to speak up and say that they were the one that said it? And then nobody, was saying anything. And then Porsha said, well, just go ahead and say who it was. And then Sheree says that it was Porsha. And Porsha was like, not say that. So then, honey, they went to rolling back the film, and Sheree was repeating verbatim, well, so and so said this, and then you said that, and then Porsha was like, somebody said something, and then I was throwing shade and said, she ain't the only one that needs to come out the closet. She says, but I had to forget all about that, and we all throw shade at each other. Like, why are you sitting over there like memorizing whole conversations? And so Sheree was basically like, she get the bone and she carried the bone, and she got a lot of bone. So I'm just like, I hope y'all learn to keep y'all mouth shut around Sheree. So then Porsha and Kandi start going back and forth, and basically Kandi was saying, you know, why would you say that, you know? And then Porsha was like, it was just throwing shade, I didn't mean it. And then Kandi was like, well, when she said somebody called somebody a lesbian, you knew you had said it. But I was thinking, like, technically, Kandi, she did not say that you were a lesbian. She said that Shamil wasn't the only person that needed to come out the closet. And so, you know, Kandi was trying to act like she was all offended, and then she wanted to, you know, like be angry at Porsha, but nobody wants to be angry at Sheree, who is the one that's keeping all the doggone mess going. And then they started talking about the reason the conversation came up, you know, was about the whole Kandi said that Porsha had slept with Block and all of this here. And it was just, like somebody said, it was a much to do about nothing. It was just like the dumbest conversation, but you know, they were going all round and round about it. So then they're back in the rooms, and then Sheree is like, you know, I really wish you hadn't said that, Marlo. You know, I just wanted to let it go. And then Marlo said, well, I'm sorry, but don't you feel better that it's out in the open and they done talked about it? Like, that's what you wanted, so you should feel better. And now you ain't got to hold on to that gossip anymore. And then we move over to Kandi's room, and it's Kandi, Kenya, and Cynthia. And so they're talking about, you know, what kind of lesbian Porsha is. And then Kandi is trying to say that, you know, she knows all this dirt about Porsha, and that Porsha isn't just a lesbian, she's an angry lesbian, and that, you know, she needs to watch herself before she spills all Porsha's tea. And then over in Porsha's room is Porsha, Phaedra, and Lauren, maybe? Seems like I'm missing, like, where was Hazel in all of this? But it was like 3 people in their room. And so then Porsha was saying that she knows more about Kandi than Kandi thinks she does, and Kandi better tread lightly or she's going to put all her business out in the street. So it sounded to me like maybe Porsha and Kandi have been bumping coochies together since they know so much about each other, and maybe they've been down in that sex dungeon that Kandi's supposed to have. But they were both like going back and forth like they know more about each other. And I'm thinking the only way you can have that much information about what somebody's doing in their bedroom is if you're in the bedroom with them. Then the show ended, and they showed the previews for next week or the upcoming 2 weeks or whatever. And it is going to be like, whoa. Like, what in the hell just happened? And then they had where Porsha, I think her and Kandi might have been going back and forth, and Porsha said, I'm not into teacups, short and stout. I was just done. I was like, okay, shut the computer down. I'm done. Because that was like the craziest thing I had heard. So what do you guys think? Do you believe it's going to be revealed that Porsha and Kandi have had some kind of interaction with each other? Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, I hope everybody have a fabulous week. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.